In the list that you gave me of the reasons why you're on that board, you did not list the fact that you were the son of the vice president.
Yeah, no.
What role do you think that played?
I think that it is impossible for me to be on any of the boards that I just mentioned without saying that I'm the son of the Vice President of the United States.
You were paid $50,000 a month for your position?
Look, I'm a private citizen. One thing that I don't have to do is sit here and open my kimono as it relates to how much money I make or did or didn't. But it's all been reported.
If your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life that if my last name wasn't Biden.
All right. Greg, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm not going to take a whole lot, guys, because this is a pretty clean one. This is a great baseline. This is where the way he talks to other people. This is Eddie Haskell talking to other children. This is not Eddie Haskell talking to the parents. Watch, low forehead involvement. He has a little bit of forehead request for approval once when he says, I'm a private citizen, but lack of that. He looks at her, he's telling, he's less likely to be asking for approval and fishing and uncomfortable. He knows where he's at. He knows that he has control of this situation. And he's just simply saying, I don't have to tell you that. Very different demeanor, very different mindset, not a lot of fidgeting, still has his hands closed, but that's his demeanor, that's his baseline. My guess is if you talk to Hunter Biden and you were talking about something contentious, but not where he felt like he was in trouble, this would be the Hunter Biden you found. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah. So if we take this idea that Chase brought up, which I think is a really good one, that the blink rate goes low when there's focus. He seems very focused around the idea of I'm a private citizen, that area around there, and I don't need to open that kimono. So it gets very focused around that. So that's very protective. It's a protective idea. It's basically saying, I'm protected by telling you any information, and I'm focused on that. So that's where I'd start to question, like, what are you being so protective over? What are you most worried? Who are you most worried for? Who do you most need to protect right now? Because my feeling is that's the focus of this protection. If my last name wasn't Biden, he knits his eyebrows there. It kind of looks a little bit like the idea of confusion. I'm going to pretend to be kind of confused. It's a bit of a Prince Andrew. Well, you see, in the Navy, there's this idea of going, I just don't think you get this. I'm a little confused. And so I'm just going to take away your whole premise. What he tries to do with this confusion around if my last name wasn't Biden is to discount the whole premise, the whole idea, because his name is always Biden. It doesn't make any difference to things. It's just something that he has. It affects everything. So therefore, it shouldn't affect this particular issue. Well, of course, it affects this particular issue. Of course it does. But he mocks the confusion there. So kind of interesting on that one. Scott, what do you got for us?
All right. Again, we're seeing his clasped hands, and we're seeing his baseline. We're seeing what we're used to seeing so far. Except these are a little tight, and they're in front of him. We could see that as a barrier where he's doing this. He's got those, and you can see him squeezing together and move around a little bit. Anybody's going to be nervous when they're being interviewed, especially as it's on TV, that type of thing. But again, let's start listening when these versions of the interviews come up, and listen to the edits on here. Because if you listen to stuff in headphones, there's a lot going on with the editing, a lot going on. Mark, I know you can see that stuff, but I'm telling you, I can hear that stuff in there when the reverb from the room cuts just a little. They're doing the crossfade, so the reverb ends and the other one is starting as it does that, but they're not that good at it. They're great at it, but it's not perfect. So watching on TV, you're probably not going to catch it, but in headphones, you can't miss it. And that was really odd wording where he said make or make, did or didn't, did or did. That's he's thinking as he's going through that. He didn't make $50,000 a month on that. It was $83,000. So he sort of stopped. That's my understanding. I could be wrong, but I went and looked it up, and it said it was $83,000. So that's why he stopped that. That's why he was going. That's why he didn't say no. I didn't make $50,000, which would have not been true because he did make 50, but he made 83. If my information is correct on that, which there were a couple of things, and that's the one that finally led out to show that was true from the little bit of research that I did. So that was really odd. I think his mouth again is moving faster than his brain's moving. And he knows these questions ahead of time. A lot of the stuff he's just reciting the answers that he's rehearsed. He hadn't gone into deep rehearsal on these, but he knows what he's going to say. He just hasn't said these out loud yet. It's just going along. Because she even says that she on the list of questions, on the list of whatever you gave me, I didn't say you were the vice president's son. So I think we're seeing some heavy editing in this group of interviews, and I think he's being deceptive in there as well. Chase, what do you got?
Yeah, so this is heavily cut. If you want to see the spots, or one of the biggest spots that Scott and Mark are both talking about, watch Hunter's hands. Just keep an eye on his hands, and then just take a look when it cuts away and it cuts back, and you'll see it. There's a whole lot of political language here, which he's been exposed to his whole life. His dad, I think, just about since he was born, has been in politics. And he uses the word look, just like his father. If I'm an interrogator, or if I'm a salesperson, or if I'm a parent trying to convince my child to do something, and they use visual language like look, I'm going to use words like, I see what you mean, instead of I understand, or that sounds good to me. So I'm going to change all of my language to match the person I'm speaking to in the interrogation room or wherever you are. If I'm a psychotherapist, I'm going to be using the same language as the person I'm speaking to help them. When he says, I want you to watch this, we talk about micro facial expressions and other things. I want you to spot 3 micro behaviors, and they all occur simultaneously when he says, it's all been reported. There is a neck fear muscle movement. The metaclastoid muscle right here, you can see it move under his shirt down here. It even lifts his shirt up a little bit when he says it. Then there's a single shrug that happens right along with it, and a tiny little no head shake. It's all been reported, and you see it all right there within a quarter of a second. So you look for that in this clip. That's all I got.
Right, great. And you're talking about the 3 modes or 3 forms of communication there, Chase. And I'm not telling you this, but the person watching is going to go, what are you talking about? There are 3 of them. You've got the audio part where, like, as Chase was talking about, I hear what you're saying. That sounds good to me. You've got the visual where they say, I see what you're saying. It looks to me like. And then you have the kinesthetic where it feels, they talk about feeling, feels good, or that's a little bit rough around the edges. They start going forward. So those are the 3 in a nutshell. And you can go deep on those and really connect with someone fairly quickly when you start mirroring not only what they're doing with their body, but what they're doing with their words.
And by exactly what Chase said, that's the way they organize their information. So you're helping them pull the information back out by using the right modality. Yep.
Yeah.
In the list that you gave me of the reasons why you're on that board, you did not list the fact that you were the son of the vice president.
Yeah, no.
What role do you think that played?
I think that it is impossible for me to be on any of the boards that I just mentioned without saying that I'm the son of the Vice President of the United States.
You were paid $50,000 a month for your position?
Look, I'm a private citizen. One thing that I don't have to do is sit here and open my kimono as it relates to how much money I make or did or didn't. But it's all been reported.
If your last name wasn't Biden, do you think you would have been asked to be on the board of Burisma?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't think that there's a lot of things that would have happened in my life that if my last name wasn't Biden.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.